Hey guys, what's up? We're gonna go ahead and get started. My plan though tonight is not actually to look at any kind of like specific objective or anything that I kind of had down. I'm really, because this is literally the day before finals, I'm gonna leave it completely up to you. So whether or not you want me to talk about something or really just talk at all is completely up to you guys. Okay? Yes, because there is no such thing as passive studying. So if you're hanging out up on here, I want you to be active and actually ask questions, not just sit there. All right, Abby. Lots of things. The triangular trade, Townshend Acts, and by Abby, I mean Sarah, of course. What is stickmog, and explain the Whig Party. Any particular order? Or just all the above? I know what you, sir. Okay, well, let's do it. So, triangular trade. Let's do a couple things here. 1 second. I'm gonna pull up a whole bunch of views that make it easier for me to see you guys and see what's going on all at the same time. All right, so triangular trade. Are you asking about both triangles or just the one triangle? That is a legitimate question I have.
All the triangles.
My wife says all the triangles, which nobody wants to go through because that would be awful. There are a lot of triangular trades.
The isosceles?
Both. The isosceles triangle. You're funny. Okay. Trying to pick on shapes here that I should use. Sure, North America and South America look like that. That seems reasonable. Actually, no, let's break those two. Let's do North America and then South America, because that's what they look like. They're definitely pentagons. And then we'll do Europe as a circle. And then we'll do Africa as a square. Okay. So this isn't exactly going to be perfect, obviously. Okay, you know what? I'm an idiot. Why don't I just go insert a picture of a blank world map? That would require some intelligence. Okay, here we go. And all we're going to do is we're just going to chop this down, because we don't care about Russia and Australia. Sorry, viewers that don't exist in Russia and Australia. We don't care about you. Okay. So, that's going to drive me nuts. My wife is trying out new tech stuff in the background. Okay, so you know what? I should have been even smarter. I should have just gone to the assignment that we did this thing on, but that's okay. Whatever. Okay. Raw materials, foodstuffs. Okay, so let's deal with the basic triangle first. So I'm going to start that now. And I apologize for this being upside down. Let's fix that. Okay, so from Europe to Africa, guns and then a little bit of alcohol. Not much, just enough to notice. And then from Africa to mostly the Caribbean. Okay, but really, no, not from Africa to the Caribbean. They did not make sugar in Africa. Yes, they did grow sugar in the Caribbean. My wife's trying to do this on her own. Okay, so slaves. Now notice I'm trying to kind of put that kind of in the middle of things. Okay, and then basically from the Caribbean back to Europe, it would be especially sugar, molasses. Let's see, molasses. I don't know how to spell molasses. Whatever. Molasses. And that was really it. It was mostly sugarcane and molasses. There's not really much else going on in the Caribbean. So and I get now because I'm not brewing in the Caribbean. That wouldn't make sense. Sugar and molasses is really the main thing. Okay, so that's the first triangle. I'm just going to leave that as a very basic blue, and then we're going to move on to the next one. So here's where things get more complicated. So this is now kind of tying in. You should see a lot of similarities here with mercantilism, especially in this particular triangle. So we have raw materials, and especially foodstuffs. And we're just going to make this arrow orange. Okay, and now all we're going to do is we're going to flip that arrow, and then going the other direction now. It's going to be finished, or what we should really say manufactured goods. Once we do that, then, okay. Again, I'm going to flip this arrow over. Going from the Americas down to the Caribbean, okay, that would again be foodstuffs, because again, like, the Caribbean doesn't grow its own food there. All they're growing is mostly sugarcane and molasses, okay? And then the exact same thing is being sent, well, sugar and molasses is being sent the other direction. Yes, I will zoom in so you can see this. Jamie, stop. You may have to go walk him.
Jamie. Come here. Come here.
Go, Jamie.
Jamie.
All right, so there you go. That's the basics. Now there is one. I think we had everything, right? There should be. I feel like there should be more arrows in this, and I feel like I've missed something. What did I miss? I missed something. Let's go check my work and actually see if I'm correct. This is what I should have done in the first place. But, oh, of course, it's not the right one. Or he made us one food, I'm not sure. Could be that and all the above. Go eat, Jim Jim. You gotta be kidding me. Here we go. Did I forget something? Yes, I did forget something. Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah. I was going to put credit down, but I thought that I was getting too specific, and I can't remember if we talked about that. Okay. Yep, and credit going from, yeah, okay, so I also forgot that too. So there is, and this is actually something really important that I did forget to mention, and I'll explain my mistake here and why I forgot this. So there is money going through all this too. It's not just goods, and that's kind of the thing I missed. So I hope that's not too far in. zoom out just a touch. That's better. Okay. So my mistake is that on the yellow arrows, okay, we have that thing going, and then the white arrows, that thing going. That wasn't my problem. The thing that I forgot was that not only is Europe shipping its manufactured goods to the Americas, it's also shipping them down to South America and the Caribbean, but also, more importantly, it's sending them money. And basically it's lending them credit to go and do what they need to do, and then that credit gets passed on to the Americas, which then the Americas use to buy these manufactured goods, or they do it by selling these kind of agricultural products, rice, tobacco, timber, etc., foodstuffs. So that's what I forgot. There you go, man. That's that isn't a key that you downloaded probably sometime somewhere. I think it's the doubler triangular trade is the particular lesson. So there you go. You can screenshot that if you'd like to. You can just pause the video or go back like 10 seconds and then pause and screenshot it. Let's see. Townshend Acts. Okay? Just only the Townshend Acts, that's it? Just want to make sure here before I go and donate a whole bunch of time. That'd be Maniac. No, Radical. Oh, lead up to the American Revolution. There it is. Okay, so just the Townshend Acts. All right. Well, the Townshend Acts aren't really that complicated. Personally, I think they're the simpler out of all of them. Just because, like, if you go in order of the acts, the Townshend Acts make logical sense as to what Britain's trying to accomplish. Let's see here. So, they're in debt. Salutary neglect comes to an end. We have the Sugar and the Stamp Act. Those get repealed. Okay, except for then the Townshend Act, and what this is, and this is what I would make sure you know, is that is the response to the Stamp Act being repealed. So this basically explains it right here. As my Google Drive struggles to load. So it's kind of a comprehensive tax. It's on a whole bunch of things. And then one of the things in particular was more controversial than all the rest, and that is exactly what I'm drinking right now, which is tea. So repeals the Stamp Act and replaces it with the Townshend Act. So paper, paint, glass, and tea. Okay, and again, met with a lot of vigorous response. The Townshend Acts get repealed, except for the tax on tea. Okay, and then eventually what happens is then there's another Tea Act passed, and that's kind of what gets us to. No, don't feel it. It's a very random one to pick out of all the four. Normally students aren't like, I want this one particular thing. Stickmog. Stickmog is that is the catalysts of the Industrial Revolution in the Americas. Which I believe if you go to industrialization and the market revolution and things like that, you should find that there. Unless you want me to explain them. Let's see what we got. So the more important thing here is that you can't just like list off of all of Stigmog. Oh, okay, what does it stand for? Explain it. Yeah, okay, you have no internet. No worries. I gotcha. Okay, so, oh yeah, I did change it also. I kind of revised the order, so just be aware, like, I switched it on your notes compared to what you have. Good luck to your sister, by the way. So, S is state-sponsored capitalism. So again, that's the idea that the Industrial Revolution and market revolutions couldn't have happened without the United States government helping through things, especially like tariffs. T is the transportation revolution, and that's things like steam power, eventually railways, but not yet. I think more like steamboats. Let's see, immigration, and that kind of ties in then to C, which also with immigrants coming in, tons and tons of available cheap labor. Then also there's going to be changes in gender and how we organize work. So that like meaning like women are going to now start to do first out work, which is like where like factories ship things to them for them to finish, and then they ship it back to a factory. Then eventually we get this change over to working in factories entirely, and that's a crazy dramatic change. And then M is mass production, where we're now like producing things on a scale where eventually we'll get to the point of interchangeable parts, although we're not there yet. Like the idea that like literally your only job in a factory is to sit there and make something over and over and over and over again. That's all you do. So, and interchangeable parts happens later. I should really mark this on the slide. But basically, it's all about efficiency, right? Because if you can basically boil production down to a very, very simplistic process of one person doing the same thing over and over and over again, and then you just kind of like dole that out to a whole ton of people, and then you put that process together, you basically have what's called a factory. And factories are inherently more efficient. Not necessarily better, just more efficient. And then what was the last one? That's good. Explain the Whig Party. The Whig Party is the party that pops up after Jackson's bank war. And they're basically the anti-Jackson party. They don't necessarily, like, historians kind of debate whether or not they're kind of a newer version of the Federalist Party, or if they were kind of their own thing, or they should be considered their own thing, because kind of their beliefs kind of shift. Some of them are in favor of slavery, some aren't, but really the only thing they mostly had in common was that they hated Jackson. A lot of them also liked tariffs too, but a lot of them were divided on the whole state and federal power thing. So, there you go. Okay. You're welcome. No worries. I understand, man. Being a student, you're busy. You got places to go, things to do. Hi, buddy. What's up? Hi, Jamie. Hi. Hey, go see Mom. Go see Mom. Your turn, Nicholas. So it's a good start, Nicholas. Yellow lab. Yep. He's a yellow lab mix, but we don't know what he's mixed with. I'm not sure if it's chow or something. He's tiny for a yellow lab, but he's a good dog. Hi. Can I help you? What do you need? No, Nick. I mean, if Nick doesn't have any questions, he's fine. I'm not gonna force to ask him about questions that he doesn't need to ask. I'm waiting on some world history ones because I know there's gonna be some world history people that are like completely lost. I would be. I was super intimidated in my first world history final back in high school. Took it as a sophomore. Yeah, stop. Are you talking about my dog has questions or Nick has questions? Because I'm sure my dog's question right now is like, when you gonna walk me, and why don't you love me, and some other questions he might have. Although he just needs to go chill out. He seems to be patiently waiting. That's fine. I can be patient for the next 40 minutes. I've got stuff to work on, so while I'm waiting on Nick to gather himself with all his questions, or other people for that matter, I'm more than happy just to sit here and chill out and wait. I think, Abby, you seemed like you were implying there that Nick bothers you with a lot of stuff. Is that the case? And Nick, I think also you should have picked up that she was implying on that. Seemed to be some subtle nudging going on there. Do you mind going over the beginning purpose and eventual purpose of the original colonies? Sure. I think we did 4, right? So, hey, stop. Do you mind going over the entire final? Yeah, I do mind, actually. I don't have enough time for that. But I'm happy to look at something that you're very stumped on, Ricky. Alright, so, let's see. So here it is. This is it right here, the chart. Let me blow this up so you guys can see it. Alright. So here it is. Okay. So I'm gonna go through it really quickly. I'll try to explain myself through my typing, but it's difficult because I have 20 some boxes here that well, actually less than that, 15 that I need to do. This is gonna go decently fast. I'm gonna make the text larger also, so you can actually see. So we have Plymouth, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Virginia. That's where we're hitting here. Persecution of self and others. Okay. Eventual purpose, making money. Northern maritime economy. Notable events, concepts. We could talk lots about here. Declension cycle. So this is in Plymouth, right? Declension cycle and gospel of wealth. Okay, not going to draw a meaningful picture. Rhode Island. Okay, so the original purpose of Rhode Island and the eventual purpose are actually the same. So I'm going to merge these two. So religious freedom and belief. Basically, Roger Williams and Anne Hutchinson escaping the Pilgrims, escaping the Puritans. So notable events or concepts, I would mention them, but they were the first colony to have freedom of belief and religion. Okay, that's really what they're known for. They also are known for, though, like having, I guess this is also notable as well, more democratic and open societies. Okay, and also Roger Williams was a big advocate as well, and this is something that should be noted. Roger Williams was very, very careful with his negotiations with Native Americans, as was William Penn, who founded Pennsylvania. Very much compared to the Puritans, who really didn't care and spent most of, for example, like the first Thanksgiving in the weeks beforehand robbing, the graves of Indians. So again, there's a little bit of a contrast there between Plymouth and Rhode Island. All right, Pennsylvania. So William Penn is the founder. Basically, it was Quakers as part of it, but also it was like more representative government and society. And there's different words that we use in notes, but that's basically the gist of it. The eventual purpose is pretty much the same. The only thing I would also add onto this as well is making money. Because Pennsylvania becomes the biggest city in North America for quite a few years until it's passed by New Amsterdam, which then gets renamed to New York. Notable events, concepts. I don't know if there's necessarily anything super notable here. I mean, Philadelphia might be notable. Okay, the city of brotherly love. Okay, Maryland. Maryland's really interesting. Maryland goes through quite a few transformations. So originally it's set up as a Catholic refuge under Lord Baltimore, which is how its capital gets its name today. Then it becomes an Anglican colony. Wait, make sure. No, sorry. Then it becomes a tobacco colony, and then an Anglican colony. Notable events or concepts. I mean, Lord Baltimore is kind of an important guy to know, but other than that, none really. So there you go. If you want to take a screenshot of that, you can. Here you go, ma'am. Where should I start? I'm starting with an empty brain. Like all good stories, I would tell you start at the beginning. Unless you're doing one of those weird movie things where like you flash forward to the end of the movie and then you like rewind us through the entire thing of how you got to that point, which is called, I actually know the fancy word for that, it's called in media res, meaning in Latin in the middle of things. There you go. Oh, yeah, I can put that back up. Crap, where'd it go? Oh, I deleted it. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't. There you go. You can pause the video, Nick, and then you can just fast forward to where we are. Why don't you go ahead and do that? I'll leave it here for like 5 seconds so you can pause it. And then you can just take a screenshot of it, and then you can just unpause the video. 200 IQ plays. You can screenshot it? Oh, wait, no. Oh, wait, because no, you're on your phone. I'm an idiot. Okay, no. You can still screenshot on a phone, though. It may not be great. Cold?
No.
What is it, a successful journey? Are you enjoying what I do for the dog?
You wear pants and not a dress.
So, there you go. You think Cole will be in my stocking this year? My wife is nodding in agreement. I would beg to differ. I think I busted my hump this year.
There's some legit books on here.
It's called a Kindle. By the way, did you actually know that you don't own the rights to that book? You just bought on Kindle?
We are not buying any of these.
Right, I know. But, like, did you actually know, like, when you buy a book on Kindle, you don't own the book?
Okay.
You own the rights to look at the book, which basically means that Amazon can take it away from you at any time.
Okay.
I know, I learned that the other day. So if they want to, they could just yank everybody's Kindle books, which kind of sucks. I'm always right, just not when it comes to answers on the tests. It's an interesting attitude to have. All right. I don't know if I have a really comment about that. You guys need to get more of your homies in here. There's no way there's only 6 people right now who legitimately are worried about their final. It's not a thing. Oh my gosh, Joy, it must be annoying to be married to you. Tell your wife I feel for her.
Hey!
Oh.
Hey for that student! Hey!
My wife says you get an A. Here's the letter that you actually get.
You just turn it on the side. Just turn it on its eyes, and it's a town.
What? Oh, yes. Yeah. All right. Oh my God, it's like spam F in the chat for support. You ever heard that? Spam F in the chat? Oh. You know what? Although, Sarah, it must be super annoying for Cody to be dating you, so. Right back at you. It's fine. Well, I mean, okay, maybe you're right, Abby. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not this, right? Maybe it's
There we go.
this.
Finally got to educational apps.
At least I'm aware of it, though. Okay, apparently. Excellent. Oh, it wouldn't be a live stream without a little shade thrown.
Booker's 5, we're getting one of these.
Dang, you want me to tell Cody that? Good Lord. That is like the harshest backstab. And he's not even here to defend himself. Ouch. Oh, okay. Well, if he says it, then I guess it's totally fine, right? All right, I got about 25 more minutes, guys. I'm peacing out. I've got an interview tomorrow. Not with another school. Not leaving. Okay? Not leaving. It's actually really, really exciting. No, it's not just multiple choice. So there's no typing, but there are, there's like drop down or matching or like multiple choice. No, so yeah, I've actually got an interview tomorrow with Class Time. If you guys remember that app, like using that as one of our entry and exit tickets. So they want me to be on some kind of board consultation thing. Not sure what it's going to be, but I'm very excited. She typed, dang it, why are you getting my hopes up? Like me leaving. You're very brave behind a keyboard. Oh, you're very brave behind a keyboard, Sarah. Just remember, you haven't taken your final yet, right? Just a key flaw in the plan here. I'm not trying to poke holes in your disses here.
Wow.
What?
So you can set goals that they have to read for 30 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Like...
Have you turned on parental controls on that thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you can have it where it's only like active 2 hours a day.
Yeah. Total screen time 1 hour.
Yeah.
This is really neat. Booker's getting one when he's like 5. Block entertainment content until all daily educational goals are met.
Dang, I like it.
I know.
Yeah, it's gonna look really weird if I have an A. Well, no, I mean, don't like. This is the thing. Don't be worried too much about finals and what it's gonna do to your grade. Rookie, I've had students get, in years past, I've had students get more than 100% in a semester. Yeah, from the extra credit, yep. Which is very impressive considering also, too, that the class is double weighted. So, like, if you get, like, 110%, it's actually, like, 120%, which then is, like, I don't even like, A+++. I don't know what the letter in the alphabet is before A, but that's what you would get. Excuse me. Nope, finals are really, in very few circumstances, finals will help your grade. Well, that's awkward. Finals will help your grade, and then mostly, though, they confirm your grade or destroy it. That's statistically how they work, which is unfortunate, but it's kind of,
Hashtag life, bro.
Yeah, life.
Should I play Baby Shark?
Do not play Baby Shark in the background. Talking to my wife, by the way. Your kids still think that Baby Shark is cool?
My kids don't listen to it.
They don't listen to it? What do they think is cool right now?
The shoe.
They think the shoe?
Fortnite.
They still think Fortnite is cool.
They're in 3rd grade.
Wow. Baby Shark is not a bop. Get out, Nick. In fact, we may have to put Nick on like a 10-second chat penalty for that. Stop. Nick, I'm putting you in timeout.
Oh, that was good.
Just for saying that was a bop. You're in timeout for 300 seconds. Also, because you played Baby Shark, you're also in timeout for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Watch Nick go and get a different account and then log back in.
You didn't kick him out.
No, I'm gonna put him back in.
I hope this, by clicking all of these, it's downloading. I don't know.
Not sure?
I have no idea what I'm doing.
He said, I think Baby Shark is cool. Oh my god.
So you get along with our kid.
Oh my gosh. He said Baby Shark is cool. What in the world is going on? No, that's like saying Fortnite is a quality game. Where are you? What reality do you live in, my man? It's okay, Nick. Love you. You'll be back in 2 minutes. Babe, you have to set boundaries. If you don't set boundaries with kids, if you don't tell them that Baby Shark,
playing Baby Shark, then if you're gonna keep kicking people out.
If you don't set boundaries and you don't let kids know that Baby Shark is not a quality bop, where is the line gonna sit? Unbelievable. All right. Anyways, any more history questions besides not bops? Nick wants to know if he can get out early for good behavior. Nick also likes Fortnite. Those are two contradictory statements, and no, then therefore that statement had no effect. It took forever to figure out how to type in chat. Oh, Paige, I'm sorry. Right, perhaps it's just an assumption of mine that all students are used to, you know, writing chat messages on YouTube about how bad certain songs are, like the YouTube Rewind 2018. Can you talk more about Chinese dynasties? Sure. Which ones? Any particular one? Or are you wanting to know like what causes Chinese dynasties to become like to happen in the first place, or what leads to them falling? Maybe the order of the dynasties? Sure. So you want to start off with the Shang. Okay, so the Shang are the ones who kind of start the idea of like feudalism, that you're going to have one person in charge. And then from there, it goes on to the Zhou dynasty. So that's Z-H-O-U. And they're the ones who start the idea of the mandate of heaven. And then from there, we have the Qin. And the Qin were the ones who, the Qi Huangdi, it's like a very, very short dynasty. But that's the whole legalism thing. And remember, between the Zhou and the Qin, that's the period of the warring states. And that's where you get like Confucianism and Taoism, and then also legalism. So anyways, the Qin. And then lastly, we have the Han. And that's like the Chinese Golden Age. And we talked about some seismographs and some other things that they made. That was the order. I just kind of try to think about them like logically, okay, like what would make sense coming next? And I think like, okay, well, they got to start somewhere, and that's the Shang, so then it's got to go to the Zhou with the Mandate of Heaven, and then I know after that, and then everything falls apart in the Warring States period, so then you get the Qin. No, the order of the dynasties doesn't really matter. I don't think that was one of our objectives, if I recall. I'm more concerned about like what causes the dynastic cycle to happen. And then kind of like how that's influenced by geography. I believe those were kind of the two big objectives that we were looking at. I'd have to go back and look at our dot storm to see if that was what people were voting for. Hey, that was 300 seconds, my man. That was forever, he says. Yeah, fragmentation, right? Yep. Sarah, get out. This isn't even your class. Fragmentation and unity. And that has to do with geography, with the core and the buffer. Unbelievable. The city on a hill idea. So the city on a hill idea is the Puritan, how can I simplify this, basically? So when the Puritans come over and they take over from the Pilgrims, right? Because remember, those two people aren't the same thing. When the Puritans come in, and when Bradford takes over, especially when Bradford takes over, okay, that was William Bradford. I know, I am proud of you remembering that as well. It's awesome. When William Bradford takes over, that's the idea that the Puritans are going to become this model for, like, the world. And so, again, like, this kind of goes to the whole, like, question that the Puritans had, which was, like, because they were believers in predestination, right? That the idea that God had this elect that he knew who already was going to go to heaven, according to the Puritans. This was their struggle to how can you live in but not of the world? How can you live holy in an unholy world? And so like their idea is they're going to make such a perfect city that it will become just a model for humanity to aspire to. And that's the struggle they have. And ultimately, they can't figure it out. Their solution, which I guess is kind of a solution, is that they come up with something called the Gospel of Wealth. And again, that takes a long time to develop, and a few generations down the line. But basically, the way that they figured out that they knew that God had blessed them and that they were doing well in their lives was that they were making lots of money. Because the idea is that, according to the Gospel of Wealth, the idea is that God blesses those who have grace and those kind of things with money, which is a very kind of interesting idea. So there you go. Yes, a shining beacon to the world was, I believe, another way that he named it. A recap of Charlemagne, sure. They did indeed get the bread. So Charlemagne, Carolus Magnus, Charles the Great, also known as Charlemagne, Charlemagne. So Charlemagne is one of these Frankish kings who's existing after the fall of the Roman Empire, and it's kind of going through this period of fragmentation and unity where Europe's coming together and then it's kind of breaking up a little bit. And so Charlemagne is the head of this Frankish kingdom, and basically the Pope at the time, you don't need to know the Pope's name, and to be honest with you, I'm not even sure if I remember the exact name. I think it was Pope Leo, but that might be wrong. The Pope at the time, with Charlemagne kind of being like the big mocker, the big guy in the area, the Pope at the time was under threat from another group in Italy, and they were called the Lombards. Now, you don't really need to know anything about them. The point is that the Pope was under threat, and when the Pope calls out for help, he calls Charlemagne, and Charlemagne comes to his aid, and in return, the Pope crowns him Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, which was not holy because most people in it didn't practice Christianity. It wasn't Roman because they're Franks, they're not Romans, and it also wasn't an empire because as soon as Charlemagne dies, he divides his land up into three between his three sons, who then duke it out between each other. So there you go. Charlemagne. So it's about 10 minutes, 10 more minutes, guys. I got on here a little bit late, so unfortunately I was accidentally streaming to Twitch before I realized my mistake. So I fixed that and got it back onto YouTube. I was like sitting there, I'm like, why are no students here? You're welcome, no worries. I'm glad you asked questions. Charlemagne is definitely going to be on the final for World History. What if I just tossed it on the DCUSH final? I'm like, oh yeah, hey, here you go. Here's some World History stuff. Sarah would be ready. She's like, I know this one question about China. It's the only thing I've held on to. What are you doing?
It's a trivia game.
Ooh, I love trivia. I believe you misspelled my name. Although I think Sarah spelled S-A-R-A, right? No H, because H's are unnecessary, just like how E's are unnecessary. So, babe, I've got a blog post coming out that is the Sick Teacher Toolkit. It's like all the essential tools you need when you're puking your guts out. Isn't that great? How much harder is DCUSH compared to World History? I'll let Nick and Abby handle that. And I would agree with Abby. You do very well. There's obviously, and as these guys are about to find out here in a couple months, there's obviously a pretty big, and I don't think this would be a problem that you would struggle with, but there is a pretty dramatic leap in maturity in terms of like knowing how to schedule what you need to schedule, and Nick, be gentle, knowing like what I need to schedule, when I need to schedule it, that kind of thing. His name isn't Nicholas, it's Jolly Old St. Nicholas. Make sure you include his full title in there. Oh, that's right, I forget. Yes, as my wife mentioned, Nick prefers to be called Kris Kringle. Don't deny him the title that he's earned. All right, just about 5 minutes, guys. Are the questions on the study guide similar to the final? Sort of. I would tell you that the questions on the study guide tend to talk about the same topics, but not necessarily the same objectives. The study guide's not a bad place to start. This page, make sure you understand that the study guide doesn't do the studying for you. If you can understand that, then you'll be fine. I would agree with Abby. Don't waste your time studying things that you already know. It's not an efficient use of your time. Because again, you have 8 finals, right? So like, you want to make sure that whatever you're spending your time on, you're actually... Nick, I think Abby might be your mom. Because she's kind of telling you what to do. Obviously, don't spend time on the things you already know how to do, because why would you? You got 7 other things you got to worry about. Oh, don't say that, Abby. You don't know what kind of kid you'll ever get. Never know. No, I mean, you just trust me. You can try to have all the influence you want to on a kid in terms of how they grow up, but ultimately, there does come a point, and this isn't really true when kids are really, really young, but there does come a point when kids get old enough that they start making decisions for themselves. Which is scary and terrifying. And what you guys are doing right now. All right, last couple minutes here. So unless you got something super pressing, we're gonna call it quits here in just a minute or so. And especially because I don't want Nick and Abby to end up killing each other. Considering Nick has to study, apparently, according to Abby. All right, and it looks like my... I know, I'm literally only saying Abby just to annoy you. Have I succeeded? No, I actually do enjoy talking to students. I wouldn't do this unless I actually legitimately enjoyed it. I mean, heck, I wouldn't teach if I, didn't enjoy it. Alrighty, I'll see you guys later. Have a wonderful good night, okay? Make sure you get sleep. Don't stay up too late. Peace.